Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I have a traveler's notebook process video for you. Just working through my traveler's notebook kind of slowly but surely this time around. And today I'm going to document this photo of my kiddos baking. And I've just pulled out some things from my stash. These are some simple stories papers from Hip Kit Club. And I went through my ephemera drawer and kind of pulled out, these are all the florals that I kind of keep together in there and some pieces that I wanted to use. This should be a pretty simple spread, so I will put you all on fast forward. I'll end up listing everything that I use down below so you can check those out. Heads up, they are affiliate links, so they don't cost you any more, but they do go a long way to supporting this channel. All right, let's go. All right, one of the reasons I want to share this particular spread is because I want to show you you don't have to overthink it. Sometimes these supplies that you have are just so beautiful, it doesn't take a lot. I can be overwhelmed when I go on Pinterest or Instagram and I see just gorgeous spreads that have a ton of elements to them and they're pieced together just so beautifully. And those are super inspiring, but they can also feel overwhelming because I don't always have time to create something like that. So sometimes the supplies can just speak for themselves. And that's kind of what I'm going with here. So these are elements from the Cozy Days line, I think from Crate Paper or Simple Stories. I'll link it below. These are leftover from a Hip Kit Club subscription where they kind of curate some different lines and put them together. I loved the feel of all the sweaters, the cozy feel at home. Of course, that is what we are experiencing a lot of lately. And so I wanted to just go with that printed paper. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with that paper when I got the kit. I loved it, but really didn't know how to feature it. And so I'm just going to cover the whole side of a traveler's notebook spread so that you can see the beautiful elements. There's going to be a large picture over there, so you're not going to see all of them, but you definitely get the feel of the coziness, which is what I was going for sure. I'm kind of balancing it out with a less color intense paper over on the right side of the spread that has this black and white grid pattern on it. And then I went ahead and left the branding strip there because I thought that little pop of pink was super pretty. So this is the picture I'm going with. It's my 3 kids and I doing our very own Nailed It challenge. They have been loving the show Nailed It. If you haven't watched it on Netflix, it's a great family show. So we've been watching it together and they wanted to try to make something from scratch, and I am not much of a cook, but I did manage to find a chocolate chip cookie recipe that we could make from scratch, and we even changed it up and added some Reese's peanut butter chips of our own. So we kind of made the recipe our own. So took a picture of them while we were cooking. I have a really big envelope over there on the right, and now I'm kind of digging through my florals and picking the greens, the pinks and the golds that kind of match with the paper, but I'm really staying with that neutral color scheme because those are the florals that I'm going to bring in. Like I said earlier, I'm just using all kinds of pieces from my stash. So sometimes I get way caught up in using specific kits together and I forget that I just have all these beautiful elements sitting around, and it is a good exercise to practice combining different elements from different kits, different lines, different manufacturers, and that's kind of what's happening here. I decided to mount my picture on the black and white grid. It only sticks out just the tiniest bit, but I really like matting pictures. For me, it just feels a little bit more finished like that. So I'm going to trim that out, and that's going to be obviously the main element on the left side. I've had some people ask, I do print my pictures at home. I use an app on my phone called Print to Size, and that allows me to adjust the size of my pictures so I can put 4 to a page, or I can just like this one, just adjust it on a single 4x6 where I wanted it sized down to a little bit bigger than a 3x4, I believe. So, and then I print it out on my Epson PictureMate printer, and I will link those below. I like mine. I've had my Epson PictureMate for a good long time now, and it has worked really well for me. I haven't done a lot of picture printing until the past few months, and it's holding up really nicely and not running through ink too fast, which I definitely appreciate. All right, I kind of think this envelope set is also from a Hip Kit Club subscription, but I'm not totally sure. Honestly, I just dug it out of my ephemera drawer. And inside, I am writing a little note to my kiddos, and I'm thanking them in the note for their resilience, for how understanding they've been in these past months where it's really hard to balance being a mom and having virtual school and taking care of the house and doing videos and doing my job. It's a lot. And so I was thanking them for their smiles and for the happy moments we have in our days and for how we're able to bounce back as a family after those days that are a little tougher. So just tucking that note in there with the pictures of those sweet kids and then using that tag that says our happy place, because that is absolutely true. Our home is definitely our happy place. Okay, I have a little piece of twine right here, not twine, this is colored string, and it's that light pink that's kind of picked up in the branding strip over on the very far right, and I will tie a simple bow and then adhere that tag down to the front of the envelope just as an extra little element in there. I'm going to trim off some of the extra string. Sometimes I put the bows on, sometimes I forget. I think it adds a lot when you have those little tag embellishments and you put an actual bow. I think that's kind of important. So sometimes I forget and then I usually end up regretting it. So glad I remembered on this case to add that bow before I adhered it down. Okay, last but not least, I am going to play with all of these floral elements that I sorted out earlier. Some of them are from Maggie Holmes. I think probably most of them are. Some of them are just from some old paper that got punched into a floral shape. And I think it frames out the pieces nicely. It's going to kind of bring the two pages together. Truthfully, that blue envelope is pretty large and didn't necessarily coordinate super well. So I'm going to try to bring in that blue in a couple different ways. First of all, I have this little home ephemera piece and it's on vellum and it was kind of getting lost. So I'm going to just put it on this grid paper to bring that in another time. And I will add that in near the tag where it says our happy place, because that's what I'm wanting to highlight. So I'll trim it out and then place it right behind those florals. And I think it's a nice little element tucked in there. It doesn't jump out because it's that monochromatic feel with the blue on blue, but a nice little touch in there. And now I'll just work on placing all of those florals down. So I often kind of switch between using my adhesive tape glider and using my Tombow runner. The adhesive tape glider is really great and probably my favorite, but the Tombow works a little bit easier on some of these smaller elements, like these tiny, more delicate flowers. So I kind of switch between the two just to change it up. I'd love for you to leave a note below on what your favorite adhesive is, especially for projects like this that are not going in a page protector. My traveler's notebooks are just going to be out and kind of open to the elements. And so I'd love to hear what your favorite adhesive is. I've heard a lot of people have been loving the double-sided tape from scrapbook.com and I have not gotten a chance to try it yet. So that might find its way into the cart for my next order. But yeah, leave me a note below. Let me know what your favorite adhesive is to use right now, which ones you've tried, just what your opinions are. I grabbed my Tim Holtz small talk book or small chat, and one of my favorite books. I am like running through this book. It's going to be one of the first Tim Holtz books I finish. I could use these stickers on everything, but I grabbed a few phrases. I picked the one that says, be open to whatever comes next, and happiness depends on ourselves. Kind of just one of our mantras. You have to be flexible in the past 10 months. That is definitely what we've learned. And we need to find our own happy moments and not just wait for life to show them to us. We might have to do a little bit of searching. And then at the top, I'll add, hello, my darling. And I picked out some of my Nouveau drops. And this Nouveau color matches really well to the blue that's on the right. So I'm going to use it to add a few centers to some of these flowers to give them a little dimension and also to bring that same color from the right over to the left. That way it kind of brings the two pages together. And that will be it pretty much for that spread. I do end up finding a few florals lying around where I change my mind and decide to tuck them in at the top of the right side. Just another opportunity to use up some of these gorgeous florals from my stash. And if you watch and see the pictures at the end, you'll also see an extra copper leaf find its way up there as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. Like I said earlier, I have listed all of the supplies down below, so make sure you check those out if you are interested. Otherwise, I hope that you have a fabulous day, and as always, keep it creative.